He talks about the primary place that we connect is home. The second place that we connect is office, work, school, that kind of setting. But then he says there needs to be that third place. That third place where there's neutral ground, where it's inclusive and it promotes equality, where we don't feel like somebody's standing over us or above us, but we can all feel like we're together. Where conversation is the central activity, where it's frequented by regulars, but that the regulars welcome newcomers. And he says typically it's non-pretentious, and then he breaks that down for people like me, which means homey. And thank you for letting me know what non-pretentious meant. But a homey place. And he says that also fosters a playful mood. And Starbucks is the place he's talking about has become the third place, and I would say also the modern bookstores, the Barnes and Nobles and those kinds of things. And Panera Bread is a place I go and meet with people, and it's a comfortable place to sit and to chat and to have that third space. But what about the church? What about the church? Here's what Leonard Sweet writes about the church as third place. Church used to be a third place of choice, a meeting house, a sacred space where the community gathered for governing, for mourning, for celebrating, for relationship building. But churches increasingly became not relational space, but propositional place. Instead of going there to connect with God and with others in meaningful relationship, people started going to church to be convinced of transcendent truth, or, if they already numbered among the convinced, to have their beliefs and religious convictions confirmed from the pulpit. The church lost credibility as a place for sacred relationship when it chose to specialize in formulating and advancing a better spiritual argument. What he's saying is that many times the church has vacated its role as the place for connection, life-giving connection. Instead, we talk and we discuss and we argue perhaps the peripherals, the things that are out there, and instead of actually connecting with one another. Now, my belief is that this church does very well with the third space. We come here and we have a time of fun, we have a time of celebration, we have a time of joy, we talk with one another, we get to know one another. But it's not enough on Sunday morning for 1 hour and a half or so to come together and to do that during worship. It's important also to gather as the small groups in the church. And so as we talk about the need for this, we also need to talk about how perhaps we can even do it better. You see, the need for the third space arose out of the move from the city and small town to the suburb. Now, who here lives in the suburb? All of us. I mean, most of us anyway. This is the suburb. It was a farm. It's no longer a farm. It's a suburb. The problem with suburbs and connection is, well, look at the way the houses are built. If you remember the city, Philadelphia, or the small town, even Bridgeboro, there are sidewalks and what's on the front of almost every house? A porch or a stoop if you're in the city. There's a place for people to sit and to see the people walk down the sidewalk and to make connection, to say hi, you can walk up and chat with somebody. There was connection. Where's your porch? In the backyard. What do you have around your backyard? Fence. Where's your garage? In the front. No sense of connection. No way to react and interact with the people in your own neighborhood and community. It's isolationism instead of connection. So it's so important for the church to take on the role of that life-giving force of connection. How can we do it better? These are, because of timing, these are all hypothetical questions. They were meant for response. They have become hypothetical, or not hypothetical, rhetorical. They become rhetorical now. What is it about the quilting group that keeps the people that are there coming? My guess is that it's not all about the sewing, but it's about the connection, not only within the group, but the blessing that they give to others as they create and pray over these quilts, as they're distributed in the great power But you're also going to find out that where you have connection and as a leading cause of life, you'll have the other things. I just mentioned blessing. That's one of the 5 leading causes of life. You're also going to have coherence, a shared purpose, a meaning. That group gathers together because they share a purpose and a meaning. That's a leading cause of life. You're also going to hear the language around agency, which means the ability to do, to make happen. They certainly do and make happen those quilts and those prayers. The impact they have on those lives. You see, the leading causes of life can be found in many places, but it takes connection to get these things started. The last leading cause of life is hope, and certainly hope springs out of what they do as we pray for those who are sick and needing care. What is it about the small groups and study groups, for those of you who attend one, that keep you coming? I'm hoping it's the connection you make with those who are in it. It's the relationships you build. It's the ability to come together and to gather and to gain life. Leading cause of life. That's the church, and it needs to be intentional about it. What about us as individuals? What is the role of each of us as individuals in making sure that as Christians, we are leading the way to providing life-giving connections to a disconnected world? A world that has poverty and marginalized people, diseased persons, persons who are what we would call untouchable and unlovable. I'm hoping in my language you're hearing me answer that question. We need to be intentional about reaching out to those who others push away. Why is it that you think gangs grow so rapidly in the cities? Those kids are marginalized. They're told they're unlovable. They're told they're stupid. They're told they'll never make it anywhere. And the gang says, come on with us. You can make it here. You can be one of ours. You can gather with us. We're brothers. We're sisters. You can make it. We're connected. The church needs to be that connection space for the kids, for the community, for the marginalized. Connection and its healing power is certainly a leading cause of life. It is a cause of life put in us by the Creator of life. We're built to connect. And as I said before, where you find that leading cause of life, the others won't be far behind. We can learn to nurture those as well. Next week, we'll discover more about coherence, about sharing a shared meaning and purpose as a leader.